So let's talk about Too Fast, Too Furious. Is it really the worst of the Fast and the Furious franchise? Does it really deserve the negative reviews? Or can I defend this film? Find out right now in this review. Bad Days Entertainment Rankings and Reviews. So greetings, my fellow YouTubers, and welcome to Big D's Entertainment Rankings and Reviews. My name's Doyle, better known to you as the Big D. So I'm going to be bringing to you my next review of the Fast and the Furious franchise. If you've not seen my review of the first movie, click on that card that's coming out right about now. There we go. I'll give you a few seconds to click on that if you haven't seen before I go on with this. Alright, so now let's talk about Too Fast, Too Furious from 2003, released by Universal, directed by John Singleton, written by Michael Brandt and Derek Haas, with a story co-written by Gary Scott Thompson. A standalone sequel to the first film, Paul Walker is the only cast member from the first movie to return, along with Tyreese Gibson, Ava Mendes, Cole Hauser, James Remar, and Chris Bridges, alias the rapper Ludacris. In this film, Brian O'Connor, along with Roman Pierce, who go undercover for the U.S. Customs Service to apprehend drug lord Carter Verone in exchange for the erasure of their criminal records. Now, they initially wanted Vin Diesel to return, but Diesel declined. Instead, he chose to star in The Chronicles of Riddick, a follow-up to, or it was a prequel to Pitch Black, which would come out the following year. Anyway, Singleton, who critically praised the first film, was announced to direct this in place of Rob Cohen, who led the franchise to direct in the previous installment because he had more recently worked on a previous film Vin Diesel was in, and that was Triple X. While the film did well, but unfortunately it got dissed and what have you. Well, let's get into the story. After letting Dominic Toretto escape from the authorities, former LAPD officer Brian O'Connor flees from LA to escape prosecution. He subsequently relocates to Miami and makes a living participating in illegal street races, driving a heavily modified silver Nissan Skyline GTR R34. The races are organized by his local mechanic friend Tage Parker. After winning a race against drivers including Suki, the police show up and Brian is arrested. He is taken into custody but given a deal by his former boss, FBI agent Bilkins, and U.S. Customs agent Markham to go undercover and bring down Argentinian drug lord Carter Verone in exchange for clearance of his criminal record. Agent Maca Fuentes, who has been undercover with Verone for a year, agrees to assist bringing Brian into the organization. Brian agrees on the condition that he is given permission to choose his own partner. This prompts Brian to travel to Barstow, where he enlists the help of childhood friend Roman Pierce, who served jail time for housing stolen cars in a garage and currently making a living as a demolition derby driver. Roman, currently on parole, gets into a brief fight and blames Brian for his arrest, but reluctantly agrees to help in exchange for the same deal Brian was offered. For their mission, they are issued 2 confiscated modified cars, a Mitsubishi Lancer Evolution 7 and a Mitsubishi Eclipse Spire GTS. Roman and Brian are later hired by Verone, who tasks the duo to compete against rival drivers to obtain a package from a confiscated Ferrari located in the lot. During the race, some of the hired drivers crashed, while a few are injured by big rigs. Markham, who mistakenly thinks that the duo is trying to run away, follows them to the lot. The police ambush spooks Roman, who shoots at Markham to help maintain his cover. Roman later confronts the agent for interfering with the mission. Brian is able to salvage the situation, however, telling Bilkins that Verone is allegedly aiming to launder his money in Miami before escaping on his private jet. Brian and Roman challenge a pair of muscle car drivers they raced when competing for Verone's hiring for pink slips. Despite engine and power output handicaps, they win the race and obtain the rival cars. A 69, excuse me, a 1969 Yenko Camaro SYC and a 1970 Dodge Challenger RT, previously driven by the hired drivers. Roman later confronts Brian about the constant threat of Verone's men. However, they patch up their differences and focus on completing the mission. At the VIP section of a nightclub, Brian and Roman witness Verone torturing MPD Detective Whitworth into giving his men a window of opportunity to make their getaway. The next morning, Monica warns them that they will be killed once the drop is made. Despite this, Markham refuses to call off the job, claiming that it is their one chance to catch Verone. On the day of the mission, Brian and Roman begin transporting duffel bags of Verone's money with Verone's associates, Enrique and Roberto, riding alongside to accompany them. Before the window is set, Whitworth decides to call in the police to move in for an arrest of the drivers of the cars used by Brian and Roman. This results in a high-speed chase across the sea, with Bilkins and U.S. Customs also tracking them. The duo leads the police to a warehouse where a scramble by dozens of street racers organized by Tej disorients the police. Following the scramble, the police manage to pull over the Evo and the Eclipse, only to find out that they were driven by Tej and Suki. As it turns out, the duo had switched cars and had escaped in the two muscle cars they had won earlier. Now to the end, procedure, 5 seconds to stop, go to the description box below, fast forward to the time below. If you've seen the movie already, continue on. Here we go. Okay, you've been warned. I apologize, I went rapid fire on the last few words. As Brian approaches the destination point in his Camaro, Enrique tells him to take the Tarpon Point Marina exit instead of heading to the airfield. Meanwhile, Roman gets rid of Roberto by using an improvised ejector seat in his Challenger powered by nitrous oxide. At the airfield, customs agents have Verone's plane convoy surrounded, only to discover that they have been duped into a decoy maneuver while Verone is at a boatyard several miles away. Verone reveals he knew Monica was an undercover agent and purposely gave her wrong information on the destination point. When Brian arrives at the marina, Verone forces Monica onto his private yacht and orders Enrique to kill Brian. As Enrique prepares to kill him, Brian's ejector seat fails, but Roman suddenly appears and helps Brian to incapacitate Enrique. Verone makes his escape, but Brian and Roman use the Camaro to drive up a ramp, crashing up on top of the yacht. Brian shoots and wounds Verone moments before he was about to shoot Brian and Roman with his shotgun, making him miss, who is then arrested by Monica. Markham grants Brian and Roman full pardons. And in return, Roman turns over the second half of Verone's money. And the two agree to stay in Miami, and Brian suggests opening a garage funded by a cut of Verone's money Roman kept for themselves in the story. So, what did I think of Too Fast, Too Furious? Well, it's been years since I last saw this movie, but I will say it's pretty good, and what have you. Not what I don't care what anybody says. Like I said, it's just. Well, I can't just understand why some say, even on Rotten Tomatoes, they say beautiful people and beautiful cars in a movie that won't tax the brain cells. You know what? I say that's codswallop. I still have a pretty good blast with this movie. The movie did have some good action and some pretty good performances from Paul Walker and Tyreese Gibson. They were all good. Ava Mendes, I liked her, and Cole Hauser and Ludacris. Yeah, they weren't too bad. So anyway, from my point of view, this is kind of a 50-50 type of movie, from my point of view. But anyway, even with just Walker in this movie, along with some new characters, which some would be returning in future sequels to the Fast and the Furious. I still enjoy it. John Singleton did pretty well with the direction. David Arnold doing the score, reasonable. But nevertheless, despite the film got dissed, the film went on to make $236 million worldwide. So anyway, with all that said, would I recommend Too Fast, Too Furious? I'd say if you're a completionist, I'd say give it one try, and if you're not satisfied, then I can't say I didn't try. But if you're a hardcore one, go for it. So anyway, let me know what you thought about Too Fast, Too Furious in the comment section below. If you like this video, click the like button below, subscribe to my channel, be a part of the Big D Nation. Join me next time when I continue with one that with the one flick I kind of didn't want to see, but I did finally, and that being the Fast and the Furious Tokyo Drift. Thanks for watching, and if you like this, check out some of these other videos that I've recently done. In the upper left-hand corner is my review of the Raiders of the Lost Ark prequel, Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom. In the upper right-hand corner is my review of the third James Bond movie, that being Goldfinger from 1964, or if you want even more action, you can go to the bottom left-hand corner for my review of George Lazenby's only movie as James Bond in On Her Majesty's Secret Service. And the bottom right-hand corner is the button you can click to subscribe. If you like rankings and reviews on movies, TV, music, video games, etc., then I'm your guy. Thanks for watching. Until next time, I'm the Big D saying, see ya.